Hold on. Hello, guys. How you doing? I'm here. I'm casual tonight because I just left my sun porch, finished work, and I'm now eating crabs with my family. But I've got former U.S. Ambassador, former National Security Advisor, Susan Rice, on the phone because I'm getting her on. She knows all the national security stuff, but she doesn't know how to get on IG Live. I got to help her. So you see me, Ambassador Rice?
I see it.
Okay. All right. I see you. You didn't do what I said. You didn't make the request. I think she's casual too. I'm going to stay on the phone with you until you get. There you go. All right. So
Now, do I
casual.
hang up? Do I
hang up
hang
your
up
phone?
that?
Hang up your phone.
Okay.
Hang up your phone, Ambassador. She can.
All right.
Okay. She knows. She knows national security. She knows domestic and foreign policy. But she doesn't know how to get on IG Live.
I'm useless when it comes to this. All right. So, did you hang up? We still on the phone, or we hang up?
We hung up the phone. I'm on here. Can you see me? Do you see me?
I see you. Look beautiful, April.
You do too, Ambassador. In your sweatsuit. See, we're casual today. Look, today. We're casual today because you're sitting such a lofty perch.
Please, girl. I'm so sick of being I'm never dressed up. I'm only dressed up from the waist up, but I'm tired of that for today. So you get what you get.
You over it, aren't you? You're over it. So it's been a week, hasn't it? It's been a week.
It has. It's really been amazing, actually.
I know, Bree, but for us, we're watching it. But you're actually still involved, even though you were not chosen to be the running mate. You're still involved, right?
Well, I'm absolutely going to do everything I can to help Joe Biden win. So, yes, I've been doing what I can. A lot of DNC watch parties, and meeting with delegations virtually, and all that kind of stuff, and doing what press I can to be supportive as well.
Well, first of all, I thank you for coming on tonight, the night that Joe Biden accepts the nomination. Joe Biden, look at you. Okay, the night that Joe Biden accepts the nomination. So let's go. Okay, I want to talk about last night. Okay, first of all, let's talk Gabby Giffords. I went to Switzerland I was a young leader, American Swiss young leader with Gabby Giffords when we went to Switzerland together. And to watch her playing the horn and to give that speech last night, it touched my heart. My homegirl from Baltimore, Nancy Pelosi, wasn't playing. I was like, go ahead, your suffragette white Nancy. Come on, little Italy's finest.
She is such a badass. Well, actually, let me go back and talk about Gabby Giffords, because I was so touched by that too. I think everybody was. Mm-hmm. She's such an amazingly brave, strong, and gentle of spirit, but just determined as hell. She's a huge inspiration. And then every time Nancy Pelosi shows up, I just get, when I want to be that kind of badass when I'm her age. I swear.
Oh, you a badass now. Anytime you want to sit up there and threaten Snoop Dogg on the Twitter, I'm like, what? I said, Susan, do you realize what you did? Do you realize what you're like, girl, bye. You said, I do it for you too. I'm like, okay.
But I just want to say, there are lots of wonderful things to be said about Nancy Pelosi. But one, she's the best dressed woman in Washington. And two, she's got masks now that match every one of her outfits.
My God. Oh my God. How does she do that? It matches the color exactly. Who is her seamstress?
It's impressive. That's all I want.
All those daggone 5 kids of hers are making her make sure that she's got it together. She's voguing. Vogue. My name is Nancy Pelosi. Pop the collar, put on my sunglasses. Anyway, Hillary Clinton and her suffragette white too was amazing.
Yeah.
Secretary of State. I was like, dang. And then let's go to your friend, your former boss. The man, you were friends with him when he was senator. You were advising him when he was senator. You were on this road with him long before people really knew the road that he was going to go on. Okay. So from the unique person we both sit in, you've known him for a long time. I was pooled that day in the Oval Office when he sat with Donald Trump, when he extended his time to help try to make Donald Trump a great president. Do you hear me all? Didn't he extend his time, Susan?
He spent a lot of time with him, one-on-one, and gave him his very best advice in the spirit that he said last night, which is that we all had an interest in him succeeding. You know, it doesn't mean we have to agree with him on policy issues. But, you know, this is a moment that we're living in now where we cannot afford to have a president as incompetent and indifferent as we have now. This is a time we need a president who wants to, and we still don't have that. And I think, you know, I think Obama was expressing his, you know, profound disappointment that we all share, that even in a moment like this, the man can't rise to the occasion, won't rise, incapable.
He's limited, at the very least, limited capability. But what really got me, and you know, typically he tried to do exactly what George W. Bush did for him and what Bill Clinton did for George W. Bush, stay out of it. And what typically presidents don't talk about each other unless it's really something horrid. And last night when Barack Obama started tearing up, talking about how Black people are trying to save the democracy, how Black people over history have worked to save the democracy because we're part of we the people, that was everything to me. I was getting ready to lose it. Because how did you feel? As someone whose parents have been part of the equation of education and so much more for this nation, what did you feel?
I felt a lot of different things. First of all, this variety of the moment. Right? It took a lot. Knowing Barack Obama, him to speak in personal terms about his successor. He's wanted not to have to do it from the beginning. And what made the speech last night so powerful is that he has concluded, as many of us have, that everything is on the line. Our national unity, our democracy, our health, our economy, our security. And, you know, it's make or break. So, you know, we all have to do things that go above and beyond to what our comfort zone is in order to try to make this country what we know it should be. And then you think back to our forebears, April, our parents and our grandparents and mine. Yeah, I have a background that is like the one that Kerry Washington described she had last night. I'm the daughter of immigrants from Jamaica on one side that came in 1912 to Portland, Maine, where they weren't anybody that looked like us in Portland, Maine at that time. And then I'm the descendant of slaves on my father's side. My great-grandfather was a slave who fought in the Union Army after occupation in South Carolina for our freedom, and then went on to found a school in New Jersey in the late 1880s called the Bordentown School, which for 70 years educated generations of African Americans, both in vocational technical skills, but also in college preparatory skills. And at this school, literally Albert Einstein and Eleanor Roosevelt all came to this camp that my great-grandfather founded. And so, you know, on my dad's side, we have a long history of service and contributions. My dad was a governor of the Federal Reserve, the second African-American governor of the Federal Reserve after, you know, being born in segregated South Carolina in the 1920s and faced, you know, all forms of systematic racism and Jim Crow and the height of lynching. And then he was Tuskegee Airman during World War II, and then went on to be able to get his PhD in economics, and then, you know, serve ultimately on the Federal Reserve. And my mom, the daughter of the immigrants from Jamaica, made it her life's work to try to expand opportunities for low-income Americans, and particularly people of color, to be able to go to college. She was known as the mother of the Pell Grant program. And she helped establish and sustain that program, which has enabled 80 million Americans to go to college. And so,
and you got a lot of hearts on that one, Pell. How many of you have gone to school through Pell Grant? Those hearts are running. Look at them. That's what I'm saying. Particularly African Americans at HBCUs. Come on now, come through Pell Grant. Come through, mother of the Pell Grant. Come on.
It's amazing, April. Everywhere I go, everywhere I mention the Pell Grant program, just an upwelling of you know, appreciation for that. And, you know, what has happened in recent years, it's been cut it's funding a smaller and smaller percentage of what is necessary for people to go to college. That's another one of the many, many things we have to change if we're going to address systemic inequality and systemic racism in this country. But in any event, what all of those emotions came together as I was listening to President Obama last night. I mean, he and Michelle on Monday.
Ooh, she dropped the mic. That was it. It is what it is. Susan, it is what it is.
That was brutal and so true.
Hold on. Drop the mic.
Their styles could not be more different, but their message was very compatible and on point, and we all need to heed it. This is an election, April, where our lives depend on the outcome, quite literally.
That's no joke. And you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't think that he was going to be able to top her. I was like, "Ooh, she brought it." Her honesty, her transparency. It was like I was just awash with emotions. It felt like a wave of just something that just saved my soul. I was like, "Whew." I was like, somebody feels the way I do and can speak it openly without repercussion. I just felt, I was like, wow. You know, we miss that. You know, we miss all of you. We miss decency, I guess. I'm not going to say Democrat or Republican. We just miss decency, law and order in office. November 3rd, you got to vote like your lives depend on it. And you know, Susan, guess what? November 3rd is my baby Grace's birthday. So we're going to have a birthday party early. We may have an after party later. We'll see.
But look, you're not having an after party on the 3rd, I think, because I don't think we're going to know the results that
Don't
quick.
say that, because that Gore Bush thing had me stressed the hell out.
Oh, no. You know what? People need to get ready for this. You know, assuming everything goes as it should, legitimately, cleanly, without interference, it's still not going to be likely that we know the results on that evening. It's just, it's too much, as we've seen in so many different places with the pandemic and fewer poll workers and fewer polling sites and issues, you know, with, you know, people using more mail-in ballots, and some of them can be postmarked on the day of the election. We just need to take a deep breath and prepare ourselves for that.
So let me say this. So you know this president, and so I'm going to do a disclaimer right now. I'm an objective journalist, but when it comes to this president and all that I've had to deal with and all that I see from my unique perch, it ain't about voting for this person, that person. For me, I'm stepping out of my journalistic hat because I'm saying it's not about him. You don't vote for Donald Trump, period. End of story. Because Susan said it best a couple of weeks ago. She said, you have a moment right now that you can fix stuff. It's fixable at this moment, but if you let it linger and reelect him, it's irreparable.
I agree with you.
No, that's what you said. I'm just saying what you said. You agree with yourself then.
No.
Okay. So everyone, we've got the great Susan Rice here, former UN ambassador to the United Nations. I'm telling you, this sister is bad to the bone. She will fight somebody. She went up against Snoop Dogg, and he backed down, though, not long after that. And she was former national security advisor for then Barack Obama. She also worked at the State Department during the Clinton years. Her first love, beyond her family, is Africa, right?
That's right. That was my first focus and first area of responsibility when I was a young staffer at the White House, and then then Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs. Yeah. When we first met, we should tell folks, because we go way back.
We go way back. So I can say, and I can honestly say, if you work in Washington long enough, I've been there for over 20 years, you see the same people come back, and it's a friendly adversarial relationship, but after a point, there's a commonality. There are not many people who look like us at that space. So you kind of look at each other. So Susan and I will say, are friends. Okay? We're friends.
We're friends.
We're friends. But I'm objective. If something happens, I'll call it.
They'll be the first to bitch slap me. I know.
Not like you did with Snoop, but I will. But anyway, because I'm like, Susan, she said, wait a minute, just back up. That's not how she tries to get me stuck. But wait. And she's like, look. And she'll put it in perspective, and I like that. So everyone is saying Biden Rice, Biden Rice. It's not going to be Biden Rice, okay? It's Biden Harris. But it ain't over.
No.
Until God says it's over. And I say it ain't over because
look, let's take a minute to celebrate Biden Harris, okay?
Yes. Woo, 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 woo. Okay.
All
now
right.
for you. Okay, so now for you. It's not over, guys. This ticket is transformational in almost every way. You've got Kamala Harris, who identifies as a Black woman. She's a woman of color. Identifies as a Black woman. Transformational. You heard her speech last night. Vice President Biden said he is going to put a Black woman on the nominate a Black woman on the U.S. Supreme Court, if indeed there is an opening, and we know there will be openings at some point. And the way a little birdie, I'm not going to say who, and I can't say because I can't reveal my sources, but I understand it ain't over for you, Madam Ambassador, that I'm understanding that there could be a spot in the administration for you. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. You're very versatile. You have a great bandwidth. You have a pedigree that we don't see in our community. And let's just go there. So I understand it, and I like the fact that she's just sitting back, letting me just talk.
And yeah, I was like, how much do I have to pay you for this?
No, this is what I've heard. And I know, look, I've been around. So guys, okay, so here's and you tell me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna go down the list. So people are saying Susan Rice, Secretary of State. Yeah, that could be. If the Senate flips Democrat, I believe you could be Secretary of State. I believe that not only Secretary of State, there are other positions that you could do. Director of National Intelligence, Homeland Security, huh?
I mean, could I do I have the experience to do those jobs? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Yes.
Homeland Security?
Yes.
I'm trying to think of, okay. Department of Defense, you could be Secretary of Defense?
I could do that.
Wait a minute. Homeland Security, DNI, Secretary of State, Department of Defense. What other national security kind of things? Now, we have never had a woman as the head of the Department of Defense. I want you, and I got another bad sister I want you to meet too, but go ahead. So what other ones am I missing?
Well, those are the main ones. I've already served as National Security Advisor and UN Ambassador. So that's kind of redundant. But look, this is not up to me. This is up to the next president of the United States and the Senate, if these are going to be Senate confirmed positions. So let's just hold our horses here. Job one, April Ryan, and you have to say it, I'll say it, is we got to get Joe Biden and Kamala Harris elected. That is vital. And we need to flip the Senate. And then Joe Biden needs to decide what team he wants around him in what constellation. And I've said from the outset of this process, I will serve in any way I can that he thinks is most helpful to him and to the team. And if there isn't a place where he thinks I can be most helpful, I'm good with that too. I like my life. I got my freedom. But at this moment where there's so much to be done and the stakes are so high, I'm going to give everything I've got to trying to get Biden and Harris into the White House, flip the Senate, and then, I'll either be chilling or I'll be, back to a brutal life again. We'll see.
So someone said, UN Ambassador, again, she's been there, done that, got a t-shirt. It's moving to different territories. So my thing is, we've had women as Secretary of State before. We've never had a DNI director that's a woman, have we?
No.
And we've never had we've never had anyone who heads the Pentagon, who heads defense as a woman. So, whew.
But let me just, April, hasten to say that one of the great strengths that Joe Biden will bring with him is that he has got a very experienced team around him. My friends and former colleagues, many of whom are very capable of serving in these roles. And the person who many think is most likely to be favorably considered for Secretary of Defense is a woman named Michelle Flournoy, who I have enormous respect for. She's a friend and former colleague who's served, at very high levels already in the Defense Department. So, I think that's a post that could well, go to the most qualified person, and that most qualified person could be a woman. I think there are a number of other posts. My husband was actually joking the other night when he saw, Sally Yates on stage. And
oh, I love seeing Sally Yates on stage. She's a bad sister.
He's like, are there going to be any men in Biden's cabinet? I said, maybe not.
Tell Ian to sit down. It's time it's the year of the woman. Tell Ian, don't be jealous. Tell him the year of the woman. Bottom line, end of story. It's the year of the Black woman too. Ooh. So anyway, so someone said, Chief of Staff, would you consider that?
Look,
look, she almost did, y'all. Look, she went, Well,
honest to God, I mean it when I say I'll do what he thinks I can best do.
Okay.
Honestly, and it needn't be a Senate confirmed position. If I can help, help get the pandemic under control, help work on a racial justice.
And you are qualified for that. And we're gonna get to that in a minute.
And whatever.
So and I'm gonna say this, guys, and this, I talk to a lot of different people, and I've called Susan. She's like, who told you that? And I'll call people like, who told you that? Don't worry about it. I know people, and I don't tell my sources. But one thing,
vouch for the fact that you don't tell your sources.
Do what?
I can vouch for the fact that you don't reveal your.
That's right. So anyway, because people be surprised how I get stuff and where I get it from. So, but at the end of the day, those familiar with this process, this Biden possible transition process, they're saying that those who were considered for potential running mates still have possibilities for some kind of capacity in the administration or even in cabinet level positions. So I don't know. I'm telling you that. So I don't know if we ever talked about that, but I did hear that. So I got a feeling we're going to be seeing more of you. But let's get to the issue of the pandemic. We are now out of control still. Even though the numbers are supposed to be rolling back, we are still out of control. Over 170,000, dead? Over 5 million cases when it didn't have to be. You oversaw Ebola. You oversaw what else did you oversaw? What are the issues, the diseases, deadly diseases you oversaw?
Basically all of them. We had a global swine flu pandemic.
That's right, swine flu.
That was when I was at the United Nations, so my role was somewhat different then. But when I was National Security Advisor, we had the Ebola epidemic, as well as.
And how many cases in the United States?
Two deaths in the United States. 2 deaths.
And we even had the African summit here during Ebola, and only 2 deaths.
That's right. That's right.
I was there. I covered it.
I know. Anyway, the bottom line is that you're right. Sadly, tragically, thousands more Americans have died than was necessary. And, we're not done with this. This is still going. And, millions more infected than were necessary. And, hopefully we're seeing the curve dip a little bit, but not sustainably, and not because we've uniformly put in place the kinds of practices that are necessary to keep it down sustainably, like universal mask wearing, like much more seriously enforced restrictions on places where there's high transmissibility. Whether it's indoor restaurants or churches or, other, gatherings of people in enclosed spaces. We just haven't, we haven't done it. And, it's a tragedy to say, but too many Americans have prioritized going out to the bars rather than letting their kids go to school.
Say it again.
And they've been encouraged in that by failed leadership from the White House that downplays this and encourages folks to take risks.
So when and if Joe Biden and all the dust is settled after you say it's going to be a delay before we know who's president or not, when all the dust settles and Joe Biden emerges as the president of the United States, what is the first thing that he needs to do from your vantage point, your unique vantage point, in dealing with the issue of the pandemic?
Well, it's a little hard to say, April, because it depends a bit on where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And there, any number of variables. Hopefully, we will be nearing the validation of a safe and effective vaccine, or vaccines, plural. But that doesn't mean that, the challenge is done. That just means we have the very beginnings. And then the next step is to figure out, how do we distribute it in the most rational way? Because we're not going to have it all at once. We're not going to have enough for every American.
But wait a minute, even before distribution, you have the vaccine, but you have to do mass production and then mass distribution.
Well, yes, but one of the things that is happening is that they're doing the testing and validation of these various vaccines in tandem with production, which means we're going to have a lot of wasted money, but we may well have the kind of quantities or begin to have the kind of quantities that we need when the winner or winners emerge. So that was a calculated risk that the administration took, which is very atypical, but I think probably in this instance, the right judgment. So if Dr. Fauci is right in his hope that by early next year, we have a safe, effective vaccine candidate or two, then the question is who gets them first. And you have to figure out how to prioritize frontline workers, healthcare workers, and teachers, and those who are at greatest risk and whose importance to the larger economy are greatest. And then we need to get it widely disseminated across the nation. And that's going to require the kind of clear, moral, truthful leadership that we've been lacking, because so many Americans now already are apparently, according to polling, not prepared to get a vaccine. And if we don't have a substantial majority of Americans taking the vaccine, then we're not going to develop the collective herd immunity that we need for it to be meaningful. And then, April, what I think many Americans don't understand is it's not enough to just say, okay, vaccinate every American, which is going to be hard enough on its face. We're not going to be safe and secure in our ability to defeat this virus unless and until the vaccine is equally widely and effectively disseminated globally.
That's right.
And that's because, viruses and diseases don't respect borders, as we've seen. And it can go around the world and mutate so long as there are parts of the world where the virus is still raging. We're at risk of that coming back at us like a boomerang. And so getting that vaccine all over the place is something that's going to require global leadership, cooperation, a willingness to work with allies and partners, rejoining the World Health Organization, which we foolishly withdrew from under Donald Trump, and so many critical steps. And I've only just talked about the vaccine piece, but there are many other pieces that we're going to have to do early on to deal with the pandemic.
It's also flu season.
And let me just say to folks, I hate shots, but I get my damn flu shot every year.
You get your damn flu shot every year?
Shot, yes.
Your damn flu shot, okay.
And everybody should get their flu shot. They should get it every year, but especially this year. That's what all the doctors are saying. We cannot afford to have people with flu and COVID. COVID confuses flu, flu confuses COVID. Hospitals overwhelmed, because people forget that in a normal seasonal flu year, there's a substantial surge in hospital cases and deaths. And, that just puts an even greater strain on our limited capacity.
So I get my damn flu shot too. But let me tell you, those things hurt. So I get somebody to hold my hand and I turn away. And I'm like, and I hold on like for dear life, but I still get it.
That's all. You do whatever you need to do. Just, you can scream if you need to scream, but get your shot.
Get your damn flu shot. So I'm quoting you.
Yes. I'm with myself again, April.
Yeah, quoting yourself, yeah. So at the end of the day, we're a nation that's hurting. We're a nation that's got a lot of stuff going on. What is this? You deal on a global spectrum. What is the state of our existence globally? people are shutting their borders to our people. World leaders are laughing at us. As you said, we've pulled out of the World Health Organization. We've pulled out of the Paris Accord. We are withdrawing from the international community. Where's our standing? And someone said something very poignant to me, and it made me wonder. They said, is there any way that the international community could take Donald Trump to The Hague for atrocities against the world or something? Not war crimes, but atrocities against the world. Is that something that can happen? And what is our status globally around the world?
Well, I think the answer to your question is no on The Hague.
Okay.
But
why? Why no? Because people want this. People want to see punishment for his ineptness, for the fact that he doesn't care, his callousness, or his mismanagement, or just how he handles with disregard people and issues here and around the world.
Well, we need to solve that problem here in the United States by voting. That's the right way to deal with the challenge and all the problems he's caused. But our standing in the world, April, is painfully low. I mean, countries, particularly our friends and allies, that used to respect us and trust us and believe that we shared with them not only common interests but common values, belief in democracy and human rights, freedom of the press, the rule of law. They're beyond scratching their heads now. They sort of have their heads in their hands, just in desperation, wondering if we can pull out of this ditch.
Mm-hmm.
If we can't elect Joe Biden and retire Donald Trump, I truly believe that our leadership in the world, our security, our standing will be irreparably damaged. And 4 years has strained the hell out of all of these relationships. I think 8 years would be deadly. So I could go on and on, but the ways in which Trump has trashed our allies, dismissed them, dogged them, made everything about bogus transactions rather than shared interests and values. And the way, on the other hand, he hugged Vladimir Putin and praised Xi Jinping of China, and squandered our strategic position in the Asia Pacific leverage because he won't bring our allies with us up to China, is extraordinary. And Kim Jong-un, who's received more love letters than I'm sure Melania has.
Little Rocket Man.
Has, used and abused that goodwill, misplaced goodwill, but goodwill nonetheless, to continue advancing his nuclear and missile programs. So it's a very serious situation, and we have a lot of work to do to renew trust and faith in our leadership. And nobody can do it better than Joe Biden, who has that experience. He has the in-depth knowledge, and he's got the personal relationships with many of these leaders that is going to be important. And he'll have a team around him, April, who I can assure you also have that experience in relationships.
And you're going to be a part of that team. You're a daggone walking infomercial for Vice President Joe Biden tonight. I get it. On the night that he accepts,
I'm telling the truth.
And shame of the devil. Cousin Karen, come in here. I want to introduce you to another bad sister. She's out on my porch eating crabs with me, with her husband and her daughter. I did the COVID check, and we good. They came from New York, and got to be with family, right now. So, but Karen, come on in here. I want you to meet Susan. She is the National Vice Chairman of the Board of the NAACP.
All right. Where? Tell her to get in the picture.
Here she comes. She's all on the deck. She's coming in now. Yes. Come here. She's coming. So, okay, here she goes. Okay, so Ambassador Rice wants to meet you. Here she goes. She's taking pictures in my junkie office. Say hi, Madam Ambassador.
Hey,
nice to see you.
Nice to see you. How are the crabs?
They are phenomenal.
Good.
They're moist. I'm like, what kind of crabs do they get if they're not moist? I'm like, what?
Yeah. No. Where do you get your crabs from, April?
In Baltimore.
In Baltimore. All right.
Get your business a shout out. They'd appreciate it.
No, because if I do an advertisement, honey, no, they need to pay me. This is COVID. We need as much money as we can get. Make it rain.
Well, so how long are you staying down here?
Just for a couple of days, and then back to New York.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, the NAACP just. What about the post office? They just filed a lawsuit against the post office.
Good.
Absolutely.
They just filed the NAACP just filed a lawsuit against the post office.
You know what we're learning today, not a surprise, but that, the alleged suspension of these bad activities means nothing because they're not going to fix all the damage they've done.
That's right.
And they're not going to reinstall the sorting machines and the boxes and everything that people count on. And they're probably not going to, change the work rules and the overtime issue. So it's still a time for very concerted action and focus. I'm really glad that, the House is going to vote on Saturday on legislation. And, if the Senate doesn't take it up under Mitch McConnell, then I don't know.
But this goes back to your point. You're saying that we're not going to have the election results that night. And a lot of it's going to be due in part to voting and the post office.
But that's why we have to vote early. We have to put our plans together now in terms of how we're going to go out, and we have to vote early, and we have to make sure that we not just vote ourselves, but we call our friends and our family, because we have to have numbers that are overwhelming so that we can sort of blunt this.
Vote early.
Yep.
Don't leave anything to the last minute.
That's right.
And, if you do leave it to the last minute, then as Michelle Obama said, pack your dinner and your breakfast.
That's right.
She said, pack your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. You need your 3 meals, honey.
And put on those comfy shoes.
And wear your mask.
And
maybe you're going to go on Amazon and get your hazmat suit too. I don't know.
Well, we got to be careful. So voting early is very important. As you said, getting all your people out. And recognizing that for a whole variety of reasons, we're going to have to be very vigilant and very patient.
Okay. All right, Cousin Karen, go back out and enjoy the crabs. Yes, this is my.
Well, I watch like everybody else, so it's been great to sort of see the process by which this happens. And Madam Ambassador, we think you are the greatest and love hearing you and seeing you, and we look forward to into the Biden-Harris administration.
And she's gonna be calling me. Can we get in touch with her so the NAACP can work with her?
Absolutely, absolutely.
April knows where to find me. Thank you, Karen.
I know. I know where to find you. You have the best parties. I'm gonna tell you something. This lady right here had a party. Was it your 50th birthday?
Oh no, we're not going there, are we?
I am, about the emerald earring. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna talk about it. She has the best party. She has Christmas parties, birthday parties, but she had a great party.
My husband threw me a birthday party on my 50th birthday.
And Aretha Franklin sang. The queen. Unbelievable. She was dressed to the T in this beautiful green gown. She lost one of her earrings. It happened to be green, emerald. We were all on the floor looking for the emerald earring up under the tables.
Looking for Aretha's earring.
Looking for Aretha Franklin's emerald earring. She had one, but didn't have the other. We all on the floor. Where was that earring? She goes, oh, here it is in my pocket. I was like, well, doggone. So after that, I said, we all gonna dance with Aretha. We worked for Aretha that night. That was crazy.
No, so it was all good. That was that's one of the best memories of my whole life.
Really. I know, we all looking on the floor. Aretha's like, I said, Queen of Soul, what are you looking for? My earring, it looks like this. I said, okay. And I'm like helping Aretha Franklin on the floor, crawling in my sequin skirt, looking cute. She had it in her pocket. And you were even looking, you were like, yeah, where is it? You were, yeah, it was cute. It was all right. So I say this to say, she's a sister. She is, I love Susan. You know, you get to know people, and I'm glad that we are able to do these so you can get to know her, because a lot of times you look at people and you're like, oh, they're not touchable. She's touchable. She's real. She's one of us. And it's important that you get to know the players, because I'm just saying it because I believe she's going to be a player. I don't know how. I just know, huh?
Whether I'm a player or not, I'm going to be your friend. That's what matters.
Okay.
I,
Huh?
I appreciate you, and you know, appreciate you putting me out, letting me be, you know, a little more relaxed than some
Yeah, because
folks.
you got your jogging suit on today. I like that.
Yeah, I got my hoodie on, my
Hoodie
t-shirt
hood, hoodie hood. Put
and
the
tie.
hoodie on. Let me see you with your hoodie on.
You
Because
know,
no, you that
let
girl,
me,
put that hoodie on. Put that hoodie on. That's what I'm
hey,
talking about. That's what I'm talking about. No, we don't wear the hoodie like that. That looks kind of nerdy. That's okay. That's better. Yeah, that's better.
is that better?
you
I don't have
down.
glasses. Let me take the glasses off. There you go.
But it's important. But it's important that people see this, because you know what hoodies symbolize. This
Yes,
is you know what I'm saying.
yes, ma'am.
And this is,
You made me mess up my hair.
girl,
Whatever.
bye. Anyway, just make sure you get your damn shot and you be fine. But but no, and before we go, if you guys have any questions, send questions. But tonight is going to be interesting. Joe Biden is going to make his acceptance speech for president of the United States, for the Democratic ticket for president of the United States. What do you say about your friend, the man that you know, Joe Biden? We don't know him like you know him. What do you say to us about Joe Biden?
Well, the main thing I'd say is that really what you see is what you get. He is as genuine and down to earth and empathetic and real as he seems. I mean, one of my favorite parts of the convention so far was when his name was put in nomination by the woman who worked in the elevator at the New York Times.
Yes. How about that?
And she just said, you know, look, Joe Biden sees me. He saw me. He paid attention to me. I ride all day long with all these important people and they look right through me. Not Joe Biden. He wanted to know who I am and what mattered to me. And that's my experience with him. You know, when my mom passed away, he was one of the very first people to be there and supported me. And you know, this was a work day. I had to come back from the hospital to the White House after she passed. And he was right there for me. And, you know, Joe Biden's the kind of guy who, as I think people understand, he's not just there to talk to important people. He's there to hang with everybody. And so one of my favorite memories is our offices in the West Wing were on the same corridor. If I stepped out of my office and, you know, and threw a football, I could throw it past his office. Now I've got a good
Or
arm.
did you throw it past his office, or would you beat him in the head?
No, I could. I'm just trying to give you a sense of distance. Okay, I got a good arm, so you know. But the office is not very far, and every night to get out of the building and go to his motorcade, he had to walk by my office and go down the stairs. And he would often just stop into that office. My office was sort of in a corner, and then there were 3 or 4 people who sat right outside my office, who were our assistants and our, you know, senior advisors and all that stuff. And he would just come and hang out and chat with them and eat some candy. There's always candy hanging out on one of the desks, and just, you know, shoot the breeze. And if my door was open and I didn't look like I was too stressed out or too busy, or maybe if I did look too stressed out, he'd come right on in and just start hanging and talking about, you know, sometimes about family, sometimes just telling a joke, sometimes about a serious policy issue. But he was just so good and decent to work with, and a good man. He is just a good man. And I love him. I really do.
Okay. And in this transformational moment, someone did bring up a good point about reparations. We'll see. We've been screaming, Susan, I was screaming reparations, asking those questions during the Clinton years. You know that, right? And the question of slavery. What'd you say?
I remember.
Oh yeah. I was like, will we get an apology for slavery? Will there be reparations? So this is not a new conversation, but let's see if it advances with this transformational moment that we're in. Even though Donald Trump says, he's a friend of black people and what do you have to lose? I haven't heard him talking about reparations yet. So anyway, but when it comes to the issue of Joe Biden, I have two stories really fast. Joe Biden and I received an honorary doctorate from Morgan State University on the same day. And I'll never forget, I was crying because my mother toiled there for 42 and a half years until her death. And the wind was blowing. I felt her. And it was home for me. I grew up on that campus. And Biden, after I did my speech, he said, do you need a hug? I said, yes. And he hugged me. He breaks down all those barriers. And let me tell you something, that day, over 700 students, they were walking by. He took a selfie, and he even took the phone and did the selfie for them. 700 students, and they were calling him Uncle Joe by the time it was over. Uncle Joe, Uncle Joe, Uncle Joe. I was like, ooh. I'm like, 700, and that's stamina. So, and I don't get.
April,
Huh?
What year was this?
What year was it? Wait a minute. When did I get that honorary doctorate? Hold on. Let me see. Ooh. Is this it? No, that's not it. Doctorate of Laws, right here. Hold on. What is it? 2017.
Okay, so he just left the White House.
It's right there on the wall, big one. Let me let you see it. 2017. It's
okay.
See that right there?
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, my doctorate of laws. I'm a doctor of laws. Just call me Dr. Ryan. Dr. Ryan. Dr. Ryan. I'm a doctor thrice, honorary doctorate thrice. And then there's another time. Last summer, cousin Karen, who's at the NAACP, I moderated the candidates forum. And backstage, he was happy to see me. He wanted to talk to me. He's that guy who breaks all the boundaries. He gets in your face. How you doing? How you doing? It's like he's not that distance person. He wants to get personally. How you doing? You okay? And he's in your face. And you're like, all you can do is like, yeah, I'm okay. How you doing? It's like that's who Joe Biden is. And I get what that young lady said on the elevator because he's like, how you doing? Are you okay? I mean, he just does that with everyone. So I'm not saying that to support him. I'm just saying that's who I've seen. That's who I know. I mean, he's very gregarious. He's a nice guy. It is what it is. So tonight, he's accepted. He's accepted a nomination from the Democratic Party. We saw Kamala Harris last night. And before we go, because I know you got a hard out at 7, but I'm gonna let you go early, sister. Yeah, I'm gonna let you go early. I'm gonna let you say what you want to say, but I want to ask you, Steve Bannon. Ooh, girl, the wall. Charged and arrested. Another one bites the dust in the
on a yacht. On a yacht.
As he was drinking his water with his pinky up. So what do you think?
I don't know enough to know what to think. I mean, it seems pretty extraordinary that they'd arrest him in that kind of way, on some what sound like some pretty serious charges that carry potentially quite long sentences. But I want to learn more and understand better what it's alleged that he did.
But all the president's men, it's like all these people.
Yeah.
It's saying something.
I mean, it is amazing when on television they line up the list of folks that have been charged and convicted. It's a rogues gallery.
It's crazy, and birds of a feather flock together. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let you close this out. I said this a couple of weeks ago. I said, look, if people got so mad, or a former TV host, I forgot his name, that's how relevant he is, was like, how dare April Ryan make predictions? Well, the president said it a couple of years ago that he wasn't going to lead easily if Joe Biden won. And I said, I can't wait for January 20th because there's going to be a split screen. Joe Biden taking the oath of office. And then on the other side, troops pulling President Trump out. He's going to be white knuckling it, holding on to that resolute desk in the Oval Office. I'm not going.
April.
And he just said he's not going easily if Joe Biden wins. What you think? That's gonna be funny.
It won't be funny. Let's agree on that.
Okay, but
here's what I think, April. Here's what I think. We don't need that moment. We need to avoid that.
He's saying it. We don't want it, but he's
saying
it.
Let me finish, my sister.
All right.
We need to avoid that moment at all costs. And the best way to do it is to vote him out overwhelmingly. So overwhelmingly.
But he still won't leave.
April, I don't like to get into crazy hypotheticals. I recognize.
He said it. Said it.
I know he said it, and you got to be ready for all kinds of contingencies. But I don't think that's a high probability contingency. And the way to ensure that it's a low probability contingency is for him to be defeated unquestionably, overwhelmingly. And that means we all have extra work to do. It's not good enough to just, get our own selves to the polls or mail in our own ballot. We've really got to do all we can to bring every last soul to the polls.
Ambassador Rice, just don't be surprised, and don't get upset when you think, yeah, April Ryan told me.
I'm just saying, April,
he has gone to the bottom of the barrel. He's the lowest of the low. He will do what he has to do to get the attention, like President Barack Hussein Obama said last night.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying let's make it that much less likely.
And I know you have such reverence for the office, and so do I. But he has taken it to a whole nother level. He has showed disregard for the esteem of the office, for the perch that it is. He's trying to make it common, but it's not. But I would not be surprised if he does that.
No, well, let's be clear what this is. Our democracy depends on the peaceful transfer of power in accordance with the will of the people. That's how we have done it for over 200 years. And that's how we need to keep it. And
in the last 3.5 years, it's been his will.
In the last 3.5 years, we have seen a leader in the White House who's governed more like an autocrat than a Democrat.
A dictator.
And, that's one of the many, many reasons why, as Obama said last night, the future of our country and the future of democracy itself is on this ballot. So let's reclaim it.
And with that said, I just think the world of you, and you know this, and I just want you to shine. I want all our sisters to shine, because this is the year of the woman. This is the year of the Black woman. Women of color too, but this is the year for Black women. You know what? We are the help. We have been helping since we got here. We've been helping save the democracy, and we're doing it again. Ambassador Rice, the floor is yours to say good night.
Good night, my sister, and sisters and brothers and everybody out there watching. Thank you for joining us. I love being on your program, April, all the time. Thanks for having me back.
With your hoodie on.
Everybody, we got to vote like our lives depend on it. They do. Our kids' future depends on it. We just got to hustle and no fear and leave it all on the field. So let's do it, guys. Let's do it.
So cousin Karen Boykinstown says, win with Black women. You know that's right. So, you also just said a quote, vote like your lives depended on it. You know who said that recently? Beyonce.
Well, more wisdom from Beyonce.
That's a joke, guys, because I call her Beyonce. That's a whole nother story. I love you. Peace. Bye, Ambassador Rice. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So, guys, I want you to watch the Democratic Convention tonight. Tonight is it. We had a great time with Ambassador Susan Rice. And what's wrong? Okay. We had a great time with it. My daughter just came in, the one who's going to have a birthday on November 3rd. Go figure. I went into labor on November 3rd. And who knew that this, she turns 13 on this historic night. But again, tonight is the last night of the Democratic National Convention. I implore you to watch. Next week is the Republican National Convention. I implore you to watch, because we need to hear all sides of the story that concerns you. Be mindful of what you watch. So, and use critical thinking. And even if, no matter what the candidate or what party it is, you still have a right to speak your mind. You still have a right to hold people accountable. So don't think, oh, this is it. No, it's actually not about Joe Biden. It's not about Kamala Harris. It's not about Donald John Trump. It's not about Mike Pence. It's about you. You make that equation. We, the people who are still forming a more perfect union. We're going through growing pains, but it takes you to save the democracy. Black women are helping. We're helping to save the democracy yet again. We the help. Helping to save the democracy. On that note, people, peace. I got some crabs waiting for me, some family waiting for me. Love you much. I will see you next week, next Monday. And we got somebody interesting next Monday. Ice Cube. Ice Cube. Peace. God bless. Vote. Bye, guys.